Hello everybody and welcome back. This is episode number 11 of the Emperor Army YouTube channel's Football Manager 2018 experiment. Together stronger, revamped, boosted Welsh League. And I'm starting to get good at that title now. Haha. So, this is the preview for next season. We are about to start season 6. It all happens right here, right now. Cardiff City are favourites to win the league. Oh, you can understand that. They only missed out on the last day. And Merthyr are obviously close behind as a second favourite to be the Champions League representative. We're going to have a quick look shortly at the coefficients and the qualification places, just to see how far Wales have risen in the last 5 years. Should have been a lot more by now, but there you go. So Merthyr is going to be the Champions League team. Cardiff, Barry and Bala will be the representatives in the Europa League. Thiago Volpi has been highlighted as the star player of the division. What kind of role do you think he played in Merthyr winning the league last year? Probably a very, very good one. So yeah, so it's a shame you can't see who these play for. If you can scroll over them, you'd have to click on them all individually. So it'd be nice if it actually showed who they played for. So managers, there's some manager movements. Let's have a look on the transfers for the manager movements. No, it doesn't actually show it there. They're saying Stephen Robinson is the new manager of Cardiff. So with which case, let's have a little look. No, we don't want to look at Stephen Robinson. We want to look at Cardiff, if that's the case, sorry. So, history, managers. So, Massimo Carrera was sacked. So, he was sacked for not winning the league, probably. He finished second place, mate. I mean, that's a bit poor, in my opinion, for sacking him for that. Stephen Robinson, who was he? So, he was the Celtic manager. So, Cardiff taking another manager from Celtic. And then Carmarthen have got Barry Quinn. So Ramon Diaz, who did well with Carmarthen last year, he left to go to Southampton. Interesting. So Barry Quinn, who was the Newport County manager. There's a lot of manager shake-ups here. So Barry Quinn got sacked as Newport County manager. Right, okay. So Andy Morrison is now the county manager. Oh yeah, the Carnarvon, the one from Carnarvon. I think we've seen this already. The guy from Carnarvon. Anyway, Llandudno, Guilsfield and Ruthin are the new teams in the division, all favourites for the drop. TNS are favourites for the drop as well, although they ended up finishing much stronger. Pardon. So I got a bit of a chest infection at the moment, guys. You have to bear with me. Yeah, so TNS, even though they finished, and Penny Bond finished strong last year, and they're all down there. So it tells me that there may be some early business, but we'll look at that in a very short while. Because what we're going to look at is the continental information. So clubs, nations, qualification places. So Wales are up into 12th in the qualification places, which is decent. Which means these changes come in next season. Champions Cup, 2 spots. So that means that they'll have whoever wins the division in Wales will go straight into the Champions playoff. So that means that that's straight. In other words, it's either just one tie, either straight into the Champions League or into the Euro Cup. But they're also going to have a best place qualifying 2. So that'll be BP2, BP3, and then it'll be the BP playoff, I believe, best place playoff. So there we go. Euro Cup, well, now they'll still have 3, but as of next season, there'll be 1 straight into the group stage, 1 in qualifying 3 and 1 in qualifying 2. So the group stage, I'd imagine whoever finishes 3rd will go straight into the group stage of the Euro Cup. That's excellent. And so, yeah, Merthyr, Merthyr, Cardiff, Barry and Bala are the teams that we're going to look out for the European progress, because they're in 12th at the moment in Europe, which is a lot better than I thought it would be, to be honest. But it may get better if they have a better season. May see them getting a third place in the Champions League. We'll see. Transfers. Pardon me. Right then, so the early business. Cardiff have bought a good player, Dan Cotterell, from Barry. Wrexham have spent on a couple of players, well, 3 players even. Newport County have picked up 2 potential bargains, maybe. It's interesting, because at first you don't really see many transfers coming in from outside of Britain, but obviously Newport County picked up Josue from Dynamo, it was. So I don't know, a player on the decline. Maybe that's just to add to the squad. Dave Harris, 19-year-old from Blackpool. No, not impressed. So, like I say, Newport County's business has not been good. But this is an interesting one. An Argentinian has moved to Wales to play for Llandudno Junction from Vélez. So a 30-year-old Argentinian goalkeeper. Not the best. But still, someone to try and rival the goalkeeper at Merthyr, maybe. But Merthyr have brought in a player from Stoke. So the champions have bought a left back from Stoke. What kind of ability do we have here? Not bad. You'd be a decent player for this division, but you basically, if you're looking to improve your team, you're looking for the 140s mainly. But then the free transfers are always interesting. So Newport County picked up a free from Everton. Cardiff picked up a free from Blackburn. Where's the Arsenal? Arsenal. So someone from Arsenal got Colwyn Bay for free. I say, with the Welsh League, they are privy to players for free from England, and they can offer them a contract in January, which is great. A great way to pick good, fresh talent from the English League to come to play in Wales. So, a little bit of early business, not much, but I think it's about time we kick this season on, but not before we see Wales did Wales make the World Cup? I forget. Yeah, so that's right, Wales did not make the World Cup, unfortunately. I remember that. It was because they lost 8, because they couldn't score more than 3 goals in 2 ties with Luxembourg. I do remember that now, but the European League Division A is coming up, and that is going to be a tough one, because they're in the division with Spain and Denmark. So that's going to be a tricky one for them. So this is the top league, obviously. The Division A is the top. I'd imagine the games against Denmark will be important, and if they can pick up a draw at home to Spain, and Denmark don't, then Wales will remain in the International League Division A. But as these younger players keep getting better and better, Wales are slowly going to climb. They're 15th in the world at the moment, and well, did we see some of these players? Aaron Ramsey no longer plays for anybody. That'd be interesting if he got picked up by a Welsh League team, especially for the fact that he's still a 1-4-3 player. He'd go well in the Welsh League. I hope someone picks him up. Ben Woodburn, how good is he now? 66 million he's worth. Good freaking grief. That'll be why. A 165. Top player. Good old Gary Bale, what's he up to now? He's on the decline, unfortunately. He's still a top player. There we go. There's the national team for you guys. Let's push this season on. Let's get to the end of the transfer window, and then we will then see how each team starts in this division. I'll see you at the end of the transfer window. Okay then guys, we're on the 3rd of September, and just a little look around the leagues quickly just to see what things are looking like at the top. Airbus UK, I think they started off as a Premier League team. They're doing well to start with in the Cymru Lions, and having Lido looking to bounce back at the first opportunity. And Llandudno Albion It could be 3 Llandudno teams in the Premier League next season, looking at this so far, but obviously we're not going to get ahead of ourselves just yet. Bangor City need a good season. They need to get themselves back up a division. And obviously Newtown in there, Prestatyn Sports, mind you, are doing well. The Prestatyn Derby is there in the Welsh Football League Division 1. But the big one, this is the one. This is the JD Welsh Premier League. Cardiff have had a fantastic start, as have Llandudno Junction and Swansea. Merthyr have won 2 games. Carmarthen have won 2 games. Newport County have won 2 out of 3. So it's a very strong start from 7 teams in that division. So it's going to be very interesting. But the most interesting part of it for me is the transfers. That's going to determine who does what. Now, the thing is, there's not many teams who are breaking the 20 million mark when it comes to bringing players in. But Llandudno responsible for the biggest incoming transfer, but they've taken someone from Colwyn Bay, like Merthyr have taken someone from Barry. But let's do this to get a good feel for who's got what. Okay, so the first Premier League team in this list is Bala, who brought in a load of players last season. They did well. They haven't brought many in. They brought 2 in. Only one of them looking like it could potentially be for the first team, but then 2 loans as well. Maybe because they brought in so many last time, maybe they don't feel the need to do it quite so much now. You can see why Bangor are doing well down that division. They picked off 2 Premier League players. But yeah, so there's Bala. Barry have only brought in 2, and they're only on loan. So if Barry run out of money, I wouldn't have thought that'd be the case, but who knows, eh? Who knows? So we're coming down, and there's Cardiff, and Cardiff have obviously got to go and get their title back. And as you can see, they've made a mark of intent here by bringing in some of the players that they brought in. Obviously, a strong goalkeeper is what may have been the difference from Merthyr last year. Matthew Ryan from Brighton, maybe he's been brought in to counteract that, and maybe leaky goals were where they lost it. Maybe so. Colwyn Bay. So they have brought in quite a lot of players on a free. So from Arsenal, 2 players from free transfers, and a player from Newtown. So they haven't spent a lot of money, but let's see how they get on. So Connor's Key, reading the other Premier Leagues in England and Scotland. Picked up a player from Chelsea for free, some loans, and then obviously someone from Aberdeen and Aston Villa. Okay, coming down, where's the next Premier League team? Guilsfield, who have been promoted. They've obviously gone out and brought in a whole host of players that's going to keep them in the division. Llandudno have needed to do the same, and they brought in the players. They've spent a bucket load of money, as you can see there, but they've still lost all 3 of their opening games. So a dirty transfer there from Llandudno Junction to Llandudno Albion. That's not good. But there you go, Llandudno Junction have brought in some players there. They haven't spent an awful lot. Well, they've spent next to nothing really. Just the one, that goalkeeper from Velez. And they picked up some freebies and a cheeky player on a loan. So their freebies work out for them. Llanelli Town haven't spent big, but we'll see how they get on. Merthyr, now they've spent on some high transfers there, as you can see. 2 11.5 millions, a 14.75, an 18.75, another 11.5. They obviously want to retain this title. Fair play to them. Newport County have always been in and around it, in the mix, but they haven't spent. It's like they're one good transfer window away, or one good season of transfers away from penetrating that top end of the table, but they're not spending the money. The money will be there, but why they're not spending it, I don't know. Penybont for some reason were a favourite to go down, even though they've had a couple of good seasons. But looking at that, don't think they want to be down the bottom end. I think they're trying to push themselves forward. Yeah, so they spent a bit of money. They brought in quite a few to the club. It should be interesting. So further down the list now, Ruthin are now in the Premier League, and they have spent big to stay in the Premier League. Fair play to them, that's what you got to do. When you get promoted, you have to spend your kitty. You have to. TNS don't want to be at the bottom end as much as the bookies think they're going to be. They've spent on some... No, they've spent a bit, fair play. They've spent quite a bit on some pretty good players there. Wrexham are the next and final team. Wrexham are one that are looking to push forward if possible, and no, they're making the transfers. Like I say, Newport County are not far away from doing that. Wrexham are the ones who are actually spending the money to try and get into that top end of the table. So there's your transfers there. There's your teams ready to go. Now I didn't really see Swansea, although Swansea have started very well. If we go back on here, oh, there's Swansea. Sorry I missed them out. There we go. Didn't really spend an awful lot, but there you go. It goes to show sometimes you don't need to spend a lot. You just need to sort of, bring your team along and make sure that they, mature together. Because they might have some good prospects there at Swansea. But there we go. That is the early transfer sort of business. Well, not early transfer business, but the first transfer window anyway. So, what are we looking at now? This is what I always do to go on to Wales. Have they played any of these games yet? And they got the away draw to Spain. That's an important one. That will be important to stay in the A leagues, in the European leagues. They win at home to Denmark. They could get a result then against Spain. They've got to get the wins. They've got to beat Denmark at home and at least get a draw away and get something against Spain at home. I tell you something, Wales may even end up winning that league. Looking at it now, there is a chance. They are coming along, the national team. Alright, so while we're here now, Merthyr saying that they're in the Champions League, and yes, they beat Qarabag. Merthyr, I believe, are the first Welsh team now to make it to the Champions League group stages, and in the group they've got Benfica, Real Madrid and Juventus, so the chances of advancing or even getting into the Europa League are slim, but they're in the Champions League and that's great, and there's money in it for them, a nice buttload of money extra to go into the pot. So let's look at the season preview. This is where we remind ourselves of the teams. So looking at it, they're all still in. So, yes, Cardiff City have qualified for the Euro Cup. In the group stages, they got Copenhagen, that Turkish team, whoever they are, and Watford. Interesting. Watford have made it into Europe. They've made it into the group stages, and they play alongside Cardiff City. I think Cardiff should get through that group, though. Barry. It says they're no longer in a competition, so where did they fall? The fall against Chievo of Italy. They went out 3-1 on aggregate at the last stage. Gutted. And then finally, Bala. And they went out also to PAOK. So they won 3-0 at home, but somebody lost 3-0 away and lost on penalties. You've got to be gutted there to be Bala right there. That is gutting to miss out on Europe like that. It's minging. Absolutely minging. Let's look at Merthyr a minute. It's something I want to have a quick look at. The Iron Brew Cup. Who's been winning that? Right, so Cardiff have won it the last 2 years. Understandable, of course, but then at first, no Welsh teams were doing anything in it. Dundalk took it, Dunfermline took it for 2 years in a row. Cardiff have taken it for 2 years in a row now. And we got Cardiff, and I'm sure it's Merthyr will be the other team in it. The top two from Wales participate in that. I'd rather not be in it, but I don't know how to turn it off when you create your database. So there we go. Let's take this to the 30th of November now. We'll get a clearer view of how the league is looking, and then obviously in the next episode we will conclude our 6th season. So guys, I will see you at the 30th of November. Okay then everybody, it's the 30th of November, and look at that, the JD Welsh Premier League has been blown right open. Cardiff are in 9th, 9 points behind top spot Wrexham, who are unbeaten at the moment. I mean, looking at that, I'd say anyone from 6th place up are a contender for the title this season, but don't rule out Cardiff just yet. I'd imagine their managerial change has been an issue here, but it's looking very much like the power shift is changing, mainly in Merthyr's position, because they're still on for another title. And look at Wrexham though. If Wrexham had converted some of them draws into wins, they'd be out of sight by now. Looking at the bottom, Llandudno, Colwyn Bay are having an awful season, as are Bala. Penybont are not doing too well either. Obviously the expectations for them was a relegation scrap, along with TNS, who aren't doing too bad at the moment, on the same points as former champions Cardiff. So a couple of teams are letting themselves down a little bit, Barry being one of them as well, mind. But then there's Connors Quay are up there amongst the contenders. Swansea have pulled themselves back up to the top end of the Welsh Premier League. Guilsfield are doing quite well, as we thought they would. They spent money. They had a lot of money, man, because they've sold so many players. And Llandudno Junction are doing decently. So it's all looking quite interesting in the Premier League right now. So the player stats, who are we looking at as the top scorers? I mean, look at this. All these players here, 22 and 21 years old. I mean, Gary Doyle of Wrexham. He's a decent player. Will improve a little bit more as well. Darren Turner at Denby. That's a player I'd be after. So in the 130s, they need to start pushing to the 140s. Here in Welsh football, 127 to 148. No. Assists, Matty Palmer, Englishman in Wales. Not the best player, mind you. Denby are doing well with the individual players, to be fair. Guy Dan Hendricks, I'm sure we've seen him pushing that table before, yeah, for Llandudno Junction. Having a good season so far. So the average rating, so Nicholas Eliasson of Merthyr Town is the best player in the division at the moment. Well, he's not even that good. It's madness. I mean, this guy's got to be decent looking at him. Not really. Can't help but think that if I took control of just one team in this Welsh Premier League, with the money that they got to spend and everything, I would absolutely wreck it. Take any team and I would dominate it for years. But I suppose, not knowing what's going to happen, that's part and parcel of it all, isn't it, really? Let's have a little look at the teams. Obviously, Merthyr in the Champions League. How do they get on against those big clubs then? They beat Benfica 1-0 away, that's massive. They lost 2-0 at home to Real Madrid, they lost 2-0 at home to Juventus, they lost 2-0 away to Juventus, they won at home to Benfica, and they've still got Real Madrid to play. So Champions Cup Group G, and there it is there. Are they guaranteed to at least, well, they're not going to get through to the knockout stages, but they're guaranteed to at least go into the knockout stages of the Europa League. So Cardiff. So Cardiff in this group won against Copenhagen, lost against the Turkish team, lost at home to Watford, lost away to Watford, beat Copenhagen. They got to beat that team, I'd imagine. That Turkish team, they're going to have to win. Why am I clicking on Copenhagen? I don't know. Euro Cup Group E. There it is. So, if they beat this Turkish team, they will go through as second place in that. And obviously the other two didn't qualify for it. So I'd say the two teams in Europe are doing decently. Let's hope that they both get through. Well, Merthyr are guaranteed to be through the knockout round of the Europa League. Let's hope Cardiff can join them and at least push forward for Wales on that front. So the competition reputation, where are they now? So the Welsh Premier League have actually fallen behind the Ladbrokes Premiership, which is piss poor personally. Absolutely diabolical that it's fallen to 12th. They wouldn't have done on my watch. If I was a team in there, I'd be pushing things an awful lot more, and they'd be right up there. So the Welsh League's fall from grace. They've gone from 9th all the way down to 12th on the reputation scale. It's a bit gutting, really. They need to start doing a bit better in Europe, really, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how they get on. So let's have a little look at Wales and their results. So they drew with Spain, then they only drew to Denmark, then they lost at home to Spain, and then they lost away to Denmark. So they did crap in that. They got relegated. And Spain, I don't know what that is. That's a qualification for something. Italy, Portugal, Belgium and Spain. It must be like a knockout sort of thing. I don't know if that qualifies you automatically for a major tournament or something. I don't know. I'll have to do my homework on this. So rules. So the bottom team relegated to top team qualifies for a semi-final. So it is just an eight right, sort of competition. So Wales doing crap, unfortunately, in that one. So let's round this up by having a quick look at how things are looking in the other leagues. And Monmouth and Queen's Park of Wrexham are the two leading teams there. But look at this, I mean, honestly, I'd say from real up, anyone can get promoted. From real up. Even Portmarnock, if they go on a run, I'd say them two teams were a bit, Airbus were top, weren't they? Didn't they win their opening 3 games? They won their opening 3 games or something, and then they've just not done anything since. They've fallen from grace massively. But I'd say, look at that though, I mean, anyone from Brill up to Monmouth could get promoted. That's how close that league is. It's great. Absolutely love it. Bangor City are banging it in there. Newtown looking to get themselves back up. Prestatyn Sports are doing better than Prestatyn. I'm interested to see the Prestatyn derby there. So they're right next to each other. They're practically neck and neck. And they've drawn against each other so far in their Prestatyn derby. So that, obviously, as you can see there, if you're looking out for any clubs that are of any affiliation to you, if you see them there, that's how good they're doing at the moment. But Wrexham looking like they may be the ones to go ahead and win the league. Wrexham looking to be the new champions of Wales. So I think that's everything covered. Everything for this episode, guys. That's that. Be sure to tune in for the next episode when it gets uploaded, and we'll see how this season concludes. Obviously bringing you the Cymru Alliance playoff final second leg, and then we'll see who wins all the cups. You'll also see how Merthyr and Cardiff ended up getting on in Europe, and will there be another new champion? Is this Welsh League blown wide apart by the demise of Cardiff? We'll see. Thank you all for watching, and until the next time, it's cheerio for now.